we will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay, I gotta find, no, this is the 13th. Where'd I put the rest of my days? Holy crap.
You mean they're not in front of you so you can cheat?
Nope.
By the way, this thing says we're live.
What?
This thing is saying we're live.
We're not, though.
Okay.
It just says that the recording is live.
Ah, okay.
On my end, I could show you, it says record only. All right, so we did, which did we do?
13th.
Oh, this is the old stuff. Okay, we did the 12th, 13th. So now we're on the 14th. Okay, got it.
Yeah, we're on Tuesday the 14th.
Got it.
You're reading.
Fixed all my shit up.
Oh, and I got to stretch my leg out a little bit before it goes numb on me. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Here we go. The 14th, Tuesday. What are you looking at? All right. Are you ready?
Wait a minute. You're sitting in my chair because the cherubim is glaring over towards you.
No, well, I actually moved my chair over. Your chair's over there, but I've got a rooster here that I don't know if you can see.
No, I can't see it. It's off camera.
Right here. There's a rooster glaring at me.
I can always put it in my bathtub with the chickens that are in there.
So, well, I don't even know how this recording. I'm interested when I get this recording if it's always just going to show both of us, or if I'm going to have the opportunity to full screen one and then full screen another. Who knows? Oh, by the way, and I'm not editing this out because this is interesting. At least it's interesting to me. And since I'm the editor, that's all that matters. I got a couple more cameras, so we're ready to do our multi things because
we're ready to do multi-angle shots of parliamentarian porn.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah. Unless you want to learn how to edit, I'll be glad to teach you.
No, I tried that back in the 8th grade and I was terrible at it.
I know.
We had an English project to film a music video and it was an adventure.
Things got much easier. The program.
That was back in the VHS era.
Yeah. Yeah. That was when you're
doing. And you know what that means? You're old. Or you're shopping a lot of thrift stores.
But you would enjoy it, I think, but I'm not going to push it because I like doing it, but it's fun. All right, so the 14th. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be. All
right. In a society where members are permitted to serve in only one office at a time, if a member is present and elected to more than one office, :
Oh, dear. We've seen this before.
Yeah, but well, we could talk about that. So, : A, he can choose which of the offices he will accept. B, he must accept the first office to which he was elected. C, the assembly will decide by vote the office to be assigned to him. D, he must accept all offices. I do not know the answer to this. I have a good guess, but...
Okay, read the first part of it again.
The first sentence, the question?
Yeah.
Okay. In a society where members are permitted to serve in only one office at a time, if a member is present and elected to more than one office, : then the choices, which I can read again if you'd like.
The member is present and elected to more than one office, right? Is that what you said? Okay. And then the choices were he decide that the person elected decides, right? What were the other ones?
He must accept the first one that he was elected to. The assembly decides, or he must accept all offices.
Okay. Well, D doesn't make any sense because that would also contradict a couple others. Supposed to be a glutton for punishment. The assembly could decide if they choose to. So let's set that one aside for a moment. It might be the right answer, but the first one was the idea of take the first one that shows up doesn't make any sense because if he's elected to more than one, he can simply resign from one of them and then take the other one. So I would say the argument's A.
Wouldn't it? If he resigned from one, that's basically him choosing the other.
Right.
Okay.
Or he could resign from both. But yeah. He makes the. Ultimately, he would make the choice himself. So I'm going to say A.
Okie doke. Let's see.
If
I can
that's the
make an
one.
argument for A, B, or C, but let's see. It is A. I've never ran into this question because in the circumstance you were alluding to, you're allowed to be in more than one office, but you can only have one vote. I wish we had a rule that you could only be in one. But I don't think anyone ever anticipated that anyone ever would do such a thing. Not in that way. Apparently on the LNC, there's been multi-office holders before. Not in my time.
Not that I remember, anyway.
I think Mr. Starr said he was an alternate, a regional alternate, and the treasurer for a period of time.
Yeah, think about that one. Okay, he was last treasurer when I remember as late as 2010. And at that point, he was neither the regional rep for the California or the alternate. That was two different people. So if that happened, it was before that point.
He's been the treasurer, I think, multiple times.
Yeah.
And he was on the LNC in 2008, I know.
Right.
So I'm not sure what role. But all right. And the reason why we're bringing up Mr. Starr is because he's the one who held two offices on a platform committee that put us all into knots. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, throwback. I was asked to put time limits on the agenda for the last platform committee meeting.
Yeah, how did that turn out?
I ruled it out of order. I was appealed and upheld.
Wow. Okay.
And the question was posed and upheld by one vote. So it was close. I didn't vote. It would. So if I voted, it would have been upheld by 2, but I don't vote unless I need to.
We had a whole other day talking about that issue.
And there's a side discussion I wanted to have. Remind me after this so I don't forget. But the question then, it motivated Richard Brown to post it on the Roberts Forum. And there's like the old stalwarts there. We're not talking about the authors, but people who are very well respected that are PRPs. And they said I was correct, that setting time limits is in effect a motion to limit debate. It's just a different form of it. So,
yeah. The idea then was going around the idea of you can't limit debate in the committees by putting a time, and you said no, right? Right.
You can't limit debate. Only the appointing body can. Of course, it's weird with the platform committee because there's multiple appointing bodies.
You have to get everybody to line up for that, which would be crazy.
Yeah. But the appointing body could limit their own member.
Sure.
Is that you?
That was me. That was my phone.
I was like, what was that? But I was about to. But the votes against my ruling, I think, were very persuaded by the fact that Ms. Mattson said that Balch said it was permitted. Now, of course, I don't disbelieve her by any means, but I wasn't there to hear how the question was posed. And sometimes the way the question is posed has a great deal to do with the answer.
Indeed it does.
So
indeed it does.
I think I would have been sustained with a greater margin, but for that. But we shall see. So far, there's been no dissent on the Roberts Forum. Everyone seems to say, yeah, it's pretty obvious. I don't know, why is this even a question type thing? But just thought you and the listeners might be interested in that. Sure. And I didn't participate at the Roberts Forum because I didn't want to salt the soup at all. I just wanted to observe. I didn't put in my 2 cents or anything. All right. So what were we doing? We were 440. Lines 9 to 12.
Say it again, please. That's stopped.
Okay.
Where are we going again?
What?
Where?
About the multiple offices.
Yeah, but what's the page again?
440 lines 9 through 12.
Okay.
And while you're going there, I will read, and I'll go back up a little bit.
I just found it. Okay.
When voting, because what's starting earlier is interesting too. This wasn't part of our question, but it's interesting. When voting for multiple offices by a single ballot, the members are not able to take the result for one office into account when voting for another. Okay, so it's given the background. For this reason, a candidate is never deemed elected to more than one office by a single ballot unless the motion or rules governing the election specifically provide for such simultaneous election. That raises something interesting. When there is no such provision, a candidate who receives a majority for more than one office on a single ballot must, if present, choose which one of the offices he will accept. If he's absent, the assembly decides which office will be assigned to him. Now, this gives more information than the question did. The question didn't say this was done by a single ballot with multiple offices.
Right. No, it didn't. It didn't. It just said if he's elected to more than one. But it did specify in the question of whether they're present or not, right?
Right, it did. But this is interesting. This seems to imply, see if you are picking up what I'm throwing down. It seems to imply that rules must specifically allow to hold more than one office. And if not, they can't, rather than if it doesn't say they can't, they can, at least on a multiple ballot.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
Okay. This seems to imply that an office, that a person could only hold a single office unless the rules specifically say they can hold multiple offices. Sort of like a proxy. You can't have proxies unless your bylaws specifically authorize it. The way that situation arose on the platform committee was if the bylaws do not specifically forbid holding multiple offices, it's allowed. This seems to imply otherwise. Now I know.
I'm not sure I read it that way.
Where? Let me show you.
I'm not sure I read it that way.
Well, right here. But of course it is right now only speaking of a single ballot, but I'll go from there. It says, a candidate is never deemed elected to more than one office by a single ballot unless the motion or rules governing the election specifically provide for such simultaneous election. So it's saying that unless you specifically authorize that, it's not allowed. Okay.
Wait a second. Let me think about that a moment.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm reading over what you just said. Yes, my phone is still cheeping at me. For this reason, the panic single ballot, unless a motion or rules governing the election, which is how we provide for some. Okay, yeah, for a single ballot's the key words there.
Well, it is, but is that really meaning to say that if it wasn't on a single ballot, they can be? If it's not,
I would argue yes.
What?
I would argue yes, because we've had cases, and I'll go back to Mr. Starr example, where he was elected to one position.
Right.
But he was elected to one position by one ballot by one organization, and elected to a second position by a second ballot by a different organization.
Is that allowed?
And both were valid. Apparently, it was, because both were valid. Hold on, what the heck is going on here?
Apparently it was. Apparently in this it is, but we see that Roberts tells us it isn't. So
single versus different ballots. I think that's the fundamental difference right there. See, we don't normally do multiple offices on a single ballot, except when it's a vote for up to like an LNC at large or a judicial committee.
We had this discussion. You didn't remember because I think you were. Because remember I said you stabbed me in the heart for not voting for me. I had let you know you weren't there, that the election for secretary and treasurer was on a single ballot.
They did that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you want to know what, though? I'm going to investigate that question some more, because now I'm interested. I'm going to maybe pose it at the temple and see. One reason why I'm reluctant to pose it is I'm not trying to reopen that battle, and I think if certain people see it, they'll think I am and not take it as my just curiosity. And
so I think the general moral of the story is when you have specific offices, do them one at a time, and then that avoids the problem completely.
Yeah. So theoretically in 2018, if for some harebrained reason Tim Hagen had been elected to both treasurer and secretary on that ballot, he
might have resigned from both in protest.
Yeah. And vice versa if I were. But let me tell you, it would be even more harebrained to make me treasurer. You know how I am with numbers. Though I've been treasurer of a national organization before. And I've been a bookkeeper. I just think I've gotten stupid as I've gotten older. Because I was a bookkeeper for 10 years, and I was treasurer of the national. No, actually, it wasn't the National Via de Cristo. It was a local Via de Cristo, but whatever. I was still treasurer.
I've done treasury work for both county parties and also when I had my own business. And I was good at bookkeeping when I was in high school, but that was so many years ago.
Yeah.
And even doing that, stupid things like accrued expenses and accrual anything drove me nuts because it didn't make any sense to me from a logical perspective. But
I think we're okay.
You get the gavel. You did the gavel this time.
Yeah, but I'm trying to. Oh! Kids in the hall. I squish your head. I squish your head.
I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. That's what I'm doing, flathead.
I squish your head.
I squish.
Talk to the hand.
All right, bye-bye, everyone. Oh.
The heck was that?
That was
Skippy.
sorry. All right.
Viva! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed? You say nay. Opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.